G'day guys, well we are back in the shop and January is in the rearview mirror. That is crazy. This month just went by like that and we are into February and we're continuing the trend with the down under difference of my bait choices and what I'm going to be throwing here in February. Literally I'm sitting in the boat and we are about to hook it up in 2 days and head to Texas. And our first event is Toledo Bend, straight up for the Bassmaster Elite Series. I'm going to get out there a bit over a week earlier and I'm going to fish some of those Texas lakes around Toledo, get things dialed in, get accustomed to what's happening in Texas and be ready to slide into the very first event. But we're going to talk about February baits, a few of the different ones, a few of the things that I do different. You know, you can try it anywhere around the country. Green pumpkin brown with a little bit of red flake in there. That's key for down here. Big gap, big strong hook. Point doesn't line up with the eye, so you've got a nice. I was just down in Florida, caught a bunch of big ones down there out of the kayak. I had my first ever Hobie kayak tournament and I ended up finishing 9th out of 158 anglers. So super pumped with that. But these baits are a little bit all over, you know, you can try this all over, but this is kind of what I have rigged for chick right now. I've been fishing Nickerjack, Center Hill, and just everywhere around here, and the fishing has been good. It's been real good. So let's get into it. And I've got some clear water and dirty water options because we've had a ton of rain, we've had snow, we've had melt, and the water's got some color to it. So I'm going to start off straight up with a crankbait that I don't see anyone talking about, and it's the only one that I'm getting a ton of bites on. It's brand new, and I discovered it last year at the Classic, the Bassmaster Classic up there in Knoxville, because I just couldn't get bites on anything up shallow, and this is the actual one I threw. And so it's the OG series in the tiny flat 4, and when it's clear, this is the 4-foot one, this is the shallow. When it's clear, that shad color, that green gizzard color, there, nothing even comes close to it. That is the color right there. If they're up in the dirt, get this number 4. But the newest model right here is the 7, and it's just been unbelievable. I can throw it right up into 2 feet of water and just slow roll it out, and the action and everything is incredible, and it can just crawl down those rocks and just work its way out. And you know, coming into February, getting that orange crawdad color in that little bit dirty water, I generally don't like the orange like that in clear water. I like it to have some stain, and then I like red and oranges. When it's clear, I go with that shad color. And just throw it up, get on the bluffy, steeper walls, get on some channel swings, get on some lead-in banks into those major creeks or on the main lake. Throw it as close to the bank as you can. Try and, you know, not parallel it. You want it to work it out because it's going to get a little bit deeper, so you can cover that, you know, ultra shallow water all the way out off the edge until it comes out off the bottom. But you want it banging the bottom all the time. That's the biggest key of the crankbait. You want it ticking something. You want it hitting something, and just the subtle action of a flat side. Ott Defoe's done a great job on this one. You know, they have the big one, they've got a bunch, but like this tiny, it's the one for me that just gets a ton of bites. I throw it on my MILLERODS Rip Freak, and I'll throw it on the Crank Freak too, but the Rip Freak is sort of like a jerkbait rod. It's lighter, and it just throws a mile, and I throw it on a lighter baitcaster. This is the Aldebaran. I don't know if you can even still get them. I just like it because it casts light lures a long way. And then the biggest key is your line, 10-pound Sunline shooter. I love shooter for jerkbait, crankbait, all of that sort of style fishing. And G-Man has given me a ton of confidence in shooter, and I absolutely love it. So that's my first one for a little bit colored water if you want to get into cranking. This is one, you know, that I sort of had discovered over the last couple of years. Obviously, lipless crankbait is unbelievable, and the Arashi Vib has just been an absolute killer. Ott Defoe obviously won the Classic on it, but you see a lot of people go with like bright colors, so reds, oranges, and then whites. what I've found is that doesn't work that well when the water gets clear. And I started figuring this out, this color, in the clearer water, and I'm telling you, this one is hacked up. It's got teeth marks all over it. I've absolutely just crushed them on this bait, and it's got plenty of hook rash on there. And the only really difference that I do is I put those brand new red line trebles on it, and this front one is a 3 and the back one is a 4. So a little bit bigger treble on the front, a little bit smaller on the back, and you're going to get ultimate action out of that. The rod I'm going to throw it on is the MILLERODS Rip Freak again, or the Crank Freak. If you want to throw it a little bit further, you want a little bit parabolic. Those two rods are just great crankbait and jerkbait style rods. The straight up, I put it on the Shimano Metanium, and then again 10 and 12 pound Sunline shooter, depending how big a fish I'm chasing. But this one is rigged and ready to go for Toledo. So don't discount the Arashi Vib, and also don't discount going with like that transparent see-through style colors on a lipless. I catch the heck out of them on it. Sticking with the dirty water, we talked about February is my favorite spinnerbait month by far. This is when I've caught my biggest bags. Like right now, we're having some days that are hitting the high 50s and getting into the 60s. And those fish will go to the bank fast and feed, and especially when you get a little bit of colour in the water, it clears up quick on Chickamauga. So like when it rains, I get out there quick because those fish are going to be on the bank and they're going to be feeding. And what I'm going to tell you about this one, this is the Bassman, but it's the compact. This is the compact series. If you are having trouble catching fish on a spinnerbait or getting confidence in a spinnerbait, buy one of these Bassman compacts. I'm telling you, you're gonna get bites on it. It's like the finesse fishing of spinnerbaits. You're gonna get a lot of bites, but you're gonna catch some big ones too. It's got a nice big VMC hook in it, thanks to Seth Fighter. And if you've seen Seth fish, you've seen him throw this bait. He absolutely loves it. You can get it with the Mag Willow ready to go. I love that orange kicker for when the water's dirty. And then, you know, you can, a bait fish, white, chartreuse. I love this orange. We've got this color coming. I don't know if it's available yet on Tackle Warehouse, but we're gonna have it coming. And then on the compact, I put the brand new 2.75 Xzone Swammer on the back, full rigged, ready to go. I just put it on there and it looks so good. That is a fish catching machine in February and March in dirty water. If I got some cleaner water, I'm just going to go the exact same thing, but in a clear, more transparent color. And then in February, I'm throwing it in tight, on laydowns, on bluff walls, around structure. So I'm trying to cast it in around laydowns off bluffs. So I'm going to go with the Switch Freak, MILLERODS Switch Freak. It's the shorter rod, 7'2", and just get those in 7'3", and I'm going to get it nice and in tight into that structure and just work it out and feather it out. My favorite all-time Shimano, the Bantam, and I'm going to fish that in the 6.2 to 1. So we talk a lot about reel ratios. When it's winter time and it's cold and I want to go slow, 6.2, 5.8 and slower. Watch those ratios. In wintertime, you'll hardly see an 8.1 on my deck unless it's dragging a jig and I'm only using the reel to take up that line, or I'm flipping. I'm never going to use a fast reel for winding a bait in winter. That's key. This Bantam is so nice. And then I'm going to use I use 16 pound or 18 in shooter, straight through fluorocarbon, no stinger hook, just ready to go. And that's a super sick spinnerbait setup for in tight. We can't talk about any baits until we talk about forward facing sonar stuff. Shake and bake, they're calling it, or whatever, tight lining, you name it, they've called it, mid-strolling, strolling. It's just tight lining, but you're looking at it from your forward-facing sonar. So last month, we spoke about me fishing bigger baits, which I really like, and I've had a lot of success with doing this, but as these fish get pressure, and as they get caught and the months get later, it's a little bit like being offshore. They start to get a little shy, so you'll find fish start following your bait and not actually biting it, and now we want to downsize. And so this is the Xzone Hot Shot Minnow, which was originally designed by BP for drop shotting, but it is perfect on a jig head. Absolutely perfect for finesse fishing on a jig head. This is the VMC hybrid head. I've got a bunch of different jig heads, and I have 4 different ones that I use, and this is one of them, and I've been getting a lot more confidence in this, and there is a reason, and you'll have to figure it out, but it rolls better than most heads, and there's something to it, and that's what you want, that back forward roll, easy when you twitch it. One of the things I've been testing back and forward is a loop knot. Test a loop knot out. I think we spoke about that last time. I'm really liking the loop knot. With Gussie, with the way he fishes vertical, doesn't like it because he likes that line tie to hold on to that eye and keep the bait sitting horizontally. But as we spoke about it on the cast, it's not going to matter as much because you're not trying to hold that bait vertical. You want it actually free flowing and rocking back and forward. That's the 3/16 head, which the lighter you go, the more it's going to rock and the more bites you're going to get. But if those fish are moving, it's a little bit harder to hit. But great forward-facing sonar bait on smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, you name it. I think this is the best spin rod and reel combo that there is for doing this. The MILLERODS Bass Freak, I'm telling you, if you buy this rod, you are going to love it. I've caught thousands of bass on this rod. Alec Morrison he caught a share lunker in Texas here the other day on it, on Sam Rayburn. He won Sam Rayburn Toyota. He's caught 1 million bass on it as well. We both agree this is the rod. You just don't lose them. It's light in the hand. It has the feel. It has the power. I mean, this rod is the one. The little bit different thing is a Shimano Vanford that I've got on this one, but it's a 4000, so a little bit bigger. I just like it because I can like slow turn that handle and twitch at the same time, and it just picks up that line, and when they bite it, couple winds and I can really set that hook hard and keep the tension and keep the power on them. 10-pound Power Pro straight through in white. I just love straight Power Pro. It does the job incredibly, and it's just strong, and it's never ever let me down. And then the leader is kind of cool. So I've got a little bit shorter leader on here, but I've been using these new tapered leaders from Sunline, and that's what I've got tied on there. And this is my favorite 12-8 and 16-10. So you get 2 leaders in each one of these. And my FG knot is just never been stronger and never been like more streamlined and thin coming through my guides. And then so it's going from that power down to a nice thin 8 or 10-pound line for where you're going to tie it onto your hook. So they're called a TEPA, tapered fluorocarbon leader from Sunline. Check these out. They're available and ready to go, and they make life easy. That's super nice. So that's what I've been using for my forward-facing sonar. And then I can't not talk about a big bait. And so we talked about the top hook last week, and I absolutely love the top hook for slow rolling. But when they get up off the bank, off the bottom, I don't like a top hook as much. I like a more bottom hook. And so it's pretty hard to go past the 8-inch mag draft. This thing is it's a big fish catcher. It's a fish catcher machine. Honestly, there's not much you really need to do with it. The hooks are good, that's on it. The one thing I do is straighten out that bottom hook, and then I push it down into that bait like that, and that just holds it on. And then I've got those 2 on the bottom. I tie direct to it with 20 or 25 pound Sunline shooter straight through, and I put scent on it, and it's ready to go. That bait is a killer, and it catches big ones. And right now, so in that Chickamauga event, when I caught them on the glide, then I caught them on the top hook. Well, on the final day, I went back to those laydowns and I fished the 8-inch mag draft out off the ends of laydowns on bluffs. And I caught 13 pounds on an 8-inch mag draft, lost a couple big ones, but like 2 and 3 pounders were eating it, no problem at all. Tranks 5.8 to 1, Tranks 300. It's the best glide bait, big bait reel on the market, bar none. I absolutely love that. 20, 25 pound Sunline shooter straight through. And then my favorite rod probably of all time is the MILLERODS Dream Freak. It's the only swim bait rod I think that you need. And it does paddle tails, it does glides, it does everything. It hooks them, it lands them. You can boat flip them. And so the rod is the Dream Freak, 710, extra heavy, detachable butt. And this thing just casts paddle tails, glide baits, it hooks them, it lands them, it's powerful, it's light, it's got feel, it's got tip, Fuji guides all the way through, nice big long butt handle for all that power and taking up that weight under your armpit. And yeah, that's my big bait setup for February. And then next month, we'll be starting to get into some glide bait stuff. But there you go, there's the February baits, the Down Under difference on a few of those. And we're getting prepped here for Toledo Bend, start off the Elite Series, and you're gonna see a few of them coming into play, hopefully a few big baits up on some windblown docks. And there's probably gonna be a lot of forward-facing sonar stuff going on if the weather stays cool. So I'm going to leave all the Tackle Warehouse links to a lot of that gear below. If you click that link and purchase through Tackle Warehouse, it helps us out, it helps the channel out, it helps my sponsors out, and we appreciate everyone's support for doing that. And we're going to keep these going. If you've got some ideas, if you've got some questions, put them down below. We'll answer them, and we'll answer them in the next video, and we've got plenty more coming. We've got Scoot back on the road filming, and the Fear My Heart series is going to be getting going. So exciting things ahead. Appreciate everyone. Let's go catch a few.